Welcome to Love in the Wild, the podcast where healing gets real, dating can be complicated, and self-love is the main character energy we're all here for. I'm your host, Caitlin Ansari, recovering people pleaser, expert red flag spotter, and your personal cheerleader through every glow-up, breakdown, and late-night overthinking spiral. Every week, we're diving into love, heartbreak, boundaries, and the wild ride of becoming that girl. Healed, happy, and unbothered. So grab your matcha, your journal, or just your AirPods, because around here, we don't chase love, we become it. We are back with episode 2 of Love in the Wild, and I'm loving this motivation to keep this podcast going. You guys are truly like my inspiration because I love my little community. I love my group of women that are all rooting for each other. We are all just like badasses. We are looking for love. We are hopeful. We are just like craving that feminine connection, I suppose. Really, truly, like there is no room for mean girls. We are all girls. And if we're not going to sit there and support each other and root each other on from the sidelines, like who's going to do it for us? But here is to episode number 2. And the idea is that healing isn't cute. It's ugly, it's personal, and sometimes you cry in your car because it's the only place that you can. Like, I don't get the luxury of breaking down, and I certainly don't ever want to see my kids to see me so upset that I can't control my emotions. I am the first person to explain to them when I am having a bad day and kind of explaining to them in kid knowledge why I'm having a bad day. I am not a parenting expert, but I also believe that kid life is so short and kids don't need to be weighed down by adult life. They'll get there soon enough. Adulthood sucks. It's fun having a career and having money and being able to do all the things. But I will say that stress is no fun. It has been like all the reasons I have gray hair. So anyways, let's hop into it. There are 5 different ways that I have been healing the last 3 years. And it's why I took a step away from social media. My page was on private for the longest time. I was really just locked in to building the foundation of who I was. And now I think it's kind of funny that, sharing my life on social became this viral moment. But now I am back. I feel like I have that foundation to where I can share it with everybody and know that it works. But I also know how hard it is to heal when you are the firstborn daughter who is so independent. I have that mentality of if I can dream it, I can do it. And you're not going to get in my way because I want to do it. I'm very stubborn. I'm very much a go-getter. I know that the world is my oyster. And I have always been a carpe diem, seize the day, seize every opportunity. And I think in my 20s, that was fantastic. But now I'm in my 30s. I really want to lean into my softness versus my like masculine doer personality, because it's not every season is meant to build. Not every season is meant to go get. Sometimes, like for me right now, I really love the little things. I love romanticizing my life. I love looking at the home I built. I worked so hard to buy and just looking at it and being like, thank you, Lord, this house is beautiful. It's exactly what I wanted. It's a house for my kids to run around. It's where we get to laugh and have friends over. And it might not be the biggest house, but I am so grateful for all the things that I've been provided in life. And my 20s were for that hustle. And so now my 30s are more of like that softer era of life. And the first thing that was really hard for me to do was, and probably like the catalyst of my soft girl era, was asking for help and embracing vulnerability. So I was raised very much like we are supposed to put a smile on our face and everything is great. We're not supposed to have big emotions. So I learned very early on that, we just shove those emotions down. And I will say, up until probably 2 years ago, I did that. I shoved them all down there. But you know what? Shoving those emotions down doesn't get rid of them. It really only makes it worse. And I admit, when I get overwhelmed, I can't control my emotions. Like I just shove my emotions down so far that by the time they like reach boiling point, there's really no sense of return. And that's something that I really hated about myself. And it wasn't that I couldn't control it, but it was like, okay, how do I figure out the like source of this problem? And therapy helped me with that. It really helped me lean into happy emotions. It helped me lean into sad emotions. It helped me learn that it's okay to not be perfect. And that's another thing about being adopted. And, if you feel like you're a perfectionist and you're not adopted, totally okay. It's not like this is only for adopted people only, but I felt like I needed to be perfect to be loved. And so when I wasn't perfect, it freaked me out. Like I always had to think of every scenario and make sure everything was good. I had plan A, plan B, plan C. And if plan D happened, I knew what I was going to do, even if I wasn't fully prepared. And it's exhausting. My goodness. But, there is this thing about handling your emotions. And it's true for many different scenarios, like different seasons, emotions, problems you're going through in life. It's better to face them dead on than to run from them because they're still going to be there. If you face them dead on, they're going to go away sooner. If you run from them, they're just going to stay there. So lately in my healing journey, I've been embracing vulnerability. I've been feeling my feelings. I, think it's okay to cry. I explain to people around me where I'm feeling inadequate, where I'm feeling like so confident. And I can say, yeah, I'm a badass. Like I'm renting out my home. It was a disaster. I fixed it up and now I'm renting it. And then I bought another house and I feel like I'm a great mom and really celebrating my wins. And then also coming on a podcast and saying, one of my not so great moments is that when I get overwhelmed, I can't control it. And that I'm also, I do therapy and I am vulnerable and I tell my friends that I love them and I make time for people that really matter in my world. And then also asking for help. I think it is so hard to ask for help, mainly because I am a perfectionist. So I have a hard time asking somebody for help because I'm like, oh, you're going to do it your way, though. And I want you to do it my way. And that's not really how the world works. So asking for help. And I have learned that asking for help in the simplest of ways, even if it's something that I can do by myself, whether it's opening a jar or it's asking my son to take the trash out or it's, you know, expecting a man to open the door for me or pausing a second before I take out my own credit card on a date and seeing how other people show up and giving them that space to help, to provide, to, be the person that I want them to be. And it starts with small things. Like it starts with things that I'm like, I don't care how you open the jar, as long as you open the jar. I don't care how you take the trash out, as long as you take the trash out. These little things for me are huge because I'm such an act of service girly. Like I love when people can do things for me and then I never ask them for help. So really, I mean, I'm the problem here because I'm never going to ask you for help. So I've really started asking people for help in the smallest of ways. And then really building that trust with someone and saying, okay, I trust you to do more. I trust that even if you do it in your own way, the task is going to get done and I'm going to feel loved. And it's okay to feel loved. And it's okay to give somebody the emotional space to help. And then we talked about it earlier on the last episode of like trusting your intuition. Like there's a version of logic and there's a version of emotion that all play into these things. But what is your gut telling you at the very, very core? And it takes that, gosh, what am I trying to say? It takes that level of self-awareness to even know where your intuition is, to know what it's saying to you. And that comes from knowing who you are and knowing the path you want to go down. And if this feels right or if this doesn't feel right. And then on top of it, really trusting that you're going to own whatever decision you make. For me, I had a really hard time making decisions because I was like, what if I'm wrong? And it would be something as simple as gas station snacks. Or it would be something that really like, who cares? Like, who cares what the outcome is? And I would be in stitches about it. I would be like, I don't know. It could be this one. It could be that one. And I would what if myself into not making a decision at all. And, working with my therapist, I've been like, no, this is what I want to do. So when somebody asks me on a date, they're like, what do you want to eat? I'm like, I actually feel like sushi, or I actually feel like this. It's not that I don't want to take into consideration what they want to do, but they're asking me the question. They're wanting to know what I want to do. So why am I trying to take a consensus of everybody else when the question was asked to me? The third one is saying no when people rely on you too much. And hello, people pleaser, doer, independent. I mean, I love being a person that my friends feel like they can go to for advice or to help out. But then at the end of the day, I also have to have like my pillars of what are non-negotiable for me. And this translates into dating as well. Like my kids are my ultimate priority. My job is my ultimate priority because it funds my kids' lifestyle. It puts food in their bellies. It puts a roof over their heads. And then I also want to keep my friends at the forefront when I'm dating. So, when I am dating, it's understanding that I can compromise on these things, but I'm not losing them. And I'm certainly not compromising on my job or my kids. So, really being able to say no is a huge superpower that I think if you're a people pleaser and someone who's just dying to be loved, you're like, yeah, I'll do everything for you. And then at the end of the day, this is where this stems from too, is my cup would be left on empty. And then I'm irritable and I'm emotional and I'm stressed out. And for what? Like, I helped somebody out that didn't really necessarily care if they were taking my resources or not. And I think in my 30s, really understanding that from a dating perspective, knowing that there are so many dates to be had, there are so many single people in the world, but who am I and what do I truly want out of a partner? I don't want to say yes to every single date. I don't want to invest my time into every single guy just because they're there and they also want to give their time to me. There's like a companion and then there's also such thing as like this is my forever soulmate best friend kind of love. And I think there's a season and a time and a place for both. But for me right now, my priorities are so locked in that I don't have time to waste my time on somebody who doesn't meet all the criteria that I want and also have the same values that I have. So, really being able to say, no, this isn't for me, this isn't what I want, without any shade to them and without saying like they're a bad person, is an okay thing to do. The fourth thing on this list of healing is leaning into sadness versus suppressing it. And I know we talked a little bit about it earlier, but there's a story about how buffalo and cows deal with the storm. And it's not to say that you're a cow or a buffalo bestie because you're a beautiful little unicorn. But in this scenario, we want to be the buffalo because in a storm, the cows run away from the storm. And in turn, they end up getting more of the storm because they just keep running with it and the storm keeps following them. But the buffalo, what the buffalo do is they go headfirst into the storm and they know that they're going to face more adversity or trouble going into the storm, but they're going to get out of the storm sooner. And so it's the same with feelings. It's the same as understanding that if you are really sad and you're like going through a breakup, cry it out, write it down, journal it, talk to a friend, lean on your community and say, this sucks. Like, I don't like this. I am pissed. I am so happy. Or like, you're not happy after a breakup, but like all the emotions that you're going to feel after a breakup, whether you feel betrayed or you feel let down or, you're embarrassed by how it ended, and leaning into the sadness, leaning into the feelings and just crying it out and getting it out. Like, we do not need that kind of like toxic breakup behavior inside our bodies forever. We need to get it out. We need to take a boxing class. We need to like go on a run. We need to go give ourselves a facial. We need to like go get drinks with our girlfriends and just be like, I am leaving this sadness and this emotion. I'm feeling it. And then I am leaving it here. I am throwing it into the fire and we are never dealing with it again. Because I promise you, what you leave behind, something better is coming your way, but you cannot have both at the same time. You cannot ride two horses with one booty, okay? So really leaning into your sadness, journaling, crying without suppressing it, because that's how it's going to go away faster. And then number 5 is letting go of friendships to make space for healing. I'm not going to lie. Once I started healing, I really had to take a step back from my social life and really focus back on the little things, like the mandatory things of my life that I needed to do, which is obviously my kids, my job, and running a household. Because sometimes, and most times, our friends are in different seasons than we are. So if we're going out and, we're drinking and socializing and hanging out with friends that are in a different space than we are, we're kind of just stagnant. We're not really actually healing. So, it's being able to take a step back and say, if you're truly my friend, you're going to prioritize this friendship and my healing as well. I don't need you to support it necessarily, but I need you to respect it. And it's going to, you're moving into the next chapter of your life as you're healing. And some people just aren't meant to be in that next chapter, and that's fine. I have friends who are still in a party phase, and I love them, absolutely love them. But they're not the people that I'm planning to spend time with. If we end up in the same room, it's going to be a fun night. It's going to be enjoyable, but I'm not taking my time to be back in a chapter that I was already in. And if my friends need me and I can be there, I will be there for them. But you have to love people in every different season. And sometimes that means letting go. So this episode was a lot longer. I feel like the first episode, I was like counting the minutes of like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to keep making podcasts. And then I get into episode 2 and I'm like, let's just keep talking. But anyways, the key takeaway from today is don't be afraid to lose people. God will bring the people into your life that are meant for the next chapter. Sometimes those are people from your last chapter. Sometimes it's new people. And, if you're going through a breakup, understand that that breakup had to happen for you to come back better than ever. And your Prince Charming is still out there for you. I'm still very hopeful for you. I'm very hopeful for me. And at the end of the day, I'm more afraid to lose myself than I am to lose another person. So tag me with your favorite takeaway. Let's keep healing. We are in this together. I want to celebrate all your wins. I want to celebrate your successes. I am your cheerleader on the other side, babe. And I promise you, if we keep going, we're going to make it through better than ever. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Love in the Wild. If you laughed, nodded, cried, or texted your bestie mid-episode, you already know the drill. Don't keep it to yourself. Leave a review, share it in your stories, and tag me at Caitlin Ansari so I can hype you up right back. Remember, healing isn't linear, dating isn't a sport, and you're doing better than you think. Be soft, stay unbreakable, and I'll see you next week.